Karyn Bryant for MMA H.E.A.T. I'm here with Frank Mir, who is challenging for the title at UFC 146. And Frank, this could be your third time as champ. How good would that feel for you?
That'd be great. I mean, I keep making jokes right now. I have 2 belts at home. I got 3 young kids. I got to get a third one, man. Make sure that they're divided up nicely.
Is it more exciting to win it the first time? How did it feel the second time, and how do you think it could feel to do it the third time?
You know what? They're each, they're all fights that were, I remember each time I've fought for the title now, I was told that I was a heavy underdog and I had no chance of winning. And lo and behold, I have belts on my mantle. So each time there's always that sense of accomplishment, like I overcame the odds that, people said that it's not what was not possible. I think I was even a worse underdog when I fought Tim Sylvia than I am tonight. And Nogueira, I don't think a lot of people gave me much of a chance of winning that fight. And so, there's that satisfaction of always proving the naysayers wrong.
And how do you feel about that situation in this fight, the underdog? Why do you think it is that people aren't giving you as much of a chance as you yourself are?
I think because they don't. Most people that especially people that bet, they bet more of emotions and intuition. They don't really think about things. And our sport hasn't developed long enough, I think, for people to be very statistical and break down. Like you watch a football game and guys will sit there and talk about who is a +3 and whatnot. There's much more science behind it. In our sport, guys are like, oh, he's going to kill him. The guy did this in his last fight. It's like people only think of the last fight. They only think about it on an emotional level. They don't break down the fact that I faced multiple strikers in the past and have been victorious against all of them. The only style I've had an issue with in the past, I've 8-2 in my last 10 fights, and the 2 came from wrestlers. So really, on paper, the harder fight was Cain Velasquez. Actually, I was given a reprieve to have to fight a striker in Dos Santos, whose jiu-jitsu coach I submitted. There are a lot of factors on paper that should make you go, Yeah, but a lot of people, they've seen the last fight with Cain Velasquez where he caught him and he did very well. And in my last fight, even though I've been having knockouts in my record, I got caught with a punch by his coach and got hurt. And everybody, they focus on that real quick, that first instinctual image that comes up.
But you've been in his shoes, you've defended the belt, so you know where he's thinking right now, and actually that he could be hungrier for it now because he has to protect it.
No, there is that sense of contentment of now that you know what you couldn't have, you're going to fight that much harder for it. But there's also that when you don't have it, there's not the same nervousness. When you're the champ as a challenger and you're going up for the belt, you're not expected to win. You're kind of like you're challenged for the title. You're a title shot. If you lose, you lost to the champ. If you're the champion, you get your belt taken over. You know what it's like to have the belt. Everything's on the line. All he can do is still stay above water. He can defend the belts, and he walks out the same as he came in. He's a champ. He's gained no new accolades. That's a little bit harder to get motivated for, and a little more scarier that basically you have everything to lose now and nothing to gain.
Have you been rolling on the mats over at Drysdale's? I know that you've been there in the past. Has your training camp for this fight been similar to those in the past?
Oh, no, very similar. The one thing that I've actually changed was I don't spar quite as much as I used to. I used to spar and roll purely to get in shape, too. And I think with the Nogueira fight, that made me too comfortable. You've seen it almost to where I started looking like a boxer who takes the first round and kind of warms up into it. That's not a very healthy attitude in our sport, that slow starter mentality. But I had to break down, like, why am I that way? If you look at my first couple fights in my career, I'd finish fights in 40 seconds, jump on people. Well, it's because of too many hours sparring. You get that first round, you warm up. So now I've switched that. I have Dan Hardy now part of my camp, and we do a lot of running. So now I only spar twice a week, but it's intense and focused, and we're ready to go. So there is none of that. Let's warm up the first minute or two and get into this because we're doing it 5-6 days a week.
Now, I do have to wrap this up, but how is Dan feeling? He's on this card too.
No, Dan was very impressive. The guys made some very good improvements, especially working with Ricky Lindell and training over Robert Drysdale is also on the mats. His last couple of fights, really, he didn't really work on his jiu-jitsu at all. He never had someone there to help him out. He told me, I was asking him, like, well, when was the last time you trained jiu-jitsu? And he looked at me and was like, it's been like 3 months. We worked for a half hour. I'm like, whoa, this is an MMA fight, right? Not the K1. The wrong door, man. And so he knew that, and so he's made some changes in his life, and it's really going to show.
Good. Well, congratulations on your success so far, and best of luck to you. And I know your dad is here. I know you said your dad has a hard time watching you fight sometimes, and
they prefer me to go ahead and do what we're going to do June 8th, some analyst work on the fight. That's what he would rather me be doing, wear a tie, hang out, stay in air conditioning.
All right, well, I will see you then as well as Saturday night. He and I are working together on the Demetrius Johnson-Ian McCall fight, so it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. Frank, thanks, Frank.
Awesome. Thank you.